Our next guest may have some thoughts about leadership in America. In 2017, former Missouri Secretary of State Jason Kander experienced a meteoric political rise after being mentioned by then President Barack Obama as a rising star in the Democratic Party.
Who do you see out there in the Democratic Party today as a rising star that sort of has that sense of principle and courage that you see coming up? The new generation.
You know, I think there's a bunch of folks who are doing really interesting stuff. My guy in Missouri, Kander, who lost, but seems extraordinarily talented, seems like a sharp guy, and I hope that he gets back on the horse.
As Kander's status grew, the Afghanistan war veteran prepared to expand his political career until he says it all came crashing down due to his battle with PTSD. And Jason Kander joins us now. He's the author of a new book, Invisible Storm, a soldier's memoir of politics and PTSD. Jason, it's great to have you on the show. I want to dig deeply into this book because it's such an important topic for so many people. But I'm curious to get your take on the state of things in the country, kind of playing off what Senator Romney wrote in his piece in The Atlantic about the lack of leadership, the lack of guidance, the lack of purpose that the country feels right now in the face of all the obstacles that we see in front of us, including yesterday, a mass shooting at a 4th of July parade outside of Chicago.
Yeah, well, thanks for having me, Willie. And it's interesting, when I think about Senator Romney's words, I actually think about a term that I learned about myself in therapy that I've thought a lot about in regards to the country in the last couple of years, which is avoidance, which is when there are things happening that we don't want to think about. In my case, it was, intrusive thoughts or disruptive memories. But in the country's case, it's the news. It's what's going on. It's the difficulty we have in speaking to one another and finding any common ground with each other. So we avoid it. We find other things to think about. We find other things to talk about, or we just simply avoid reality in many cases. And so, Senator Romney thinks of it as denial. I think of it as, avoidance. But in my case, it's what I learned about myself in therapy for PTSD.
So, Jason, here is the book. I promised I'd hold it up as delivered there. But talk to us about what prompted you to write this and why you think lessons you learned about yourself, about PTSD, about the struggle with it, might be applicable and helpful for a country right now that does feel like it's reeling from daily traumas.
Well, a couple of reasons. One, I think you're right. We are undergoing trauma as a country all the time. But one of the things I learned, I spent 11 years telling myself, well, what I experienced in Afghanistan, that can't possibly count as PTSD because I have friends who were shot, friends who lost, limbs and that sort of thing. So I told myself for years, well, it doesn't count. And what I hear people doing all the time right now is looking at the news and saying, well, that's what happened to somebody else. I saw it on the news, but it's really upsetting me, yes, and I've been having trouble concentrating, I've been losing sleep, but it's not like I experienced a trauma, so then they don't afford themselves the opportunity to get any help. So I wrote the book that I needed 14 years ago when I came home from Afghanistan, but didn't exist, because I'm hopeful that there's somebody out there, maybe they're a veteran, maybe they're not. Really, they don't have to be to get something out of this book, and I think they could get a lot out of it.
And tell us how you are doing now. How is your own battle with PTSD?
I'm doing very well. That's the other thing that I really wanted to get across, is that post-traumatic growth is a real thing. We tend to see PTSD or any kind of trauma as something where it happens and you never get over it. That's how it's usually portrayed. But I wanted people to know that you can manage your life. You can have this sort of trauma, go to treatment and do much better, which is why I wrote the book. It's also why all the proceeds from the book go to fight veteran suicide and veteran homelessness at Veterans Community Project.
And that's certainly a real epidemic in this country. It couldn't be more of an important cause. I have to go back to it. We just heard former President Obama suggest that you were someone who he thought could have a bright political future. Obviously, you set politics aside for a time. Do you think you'll get back into it?
Maybe. People should read the book to find out more. But
good tease.
But what I would say is that at this moment in my life, I no longer feel like I'm in a place where I have to think all the time about the future in order to avoid what's going on in the present. I no longer have those sort of disruptive thoughts, those nightmares, and all those sort of things that I had on a day-to-day basis before I got treatment for PTSD. So I'm coaching Little League. I'm playing on an old man baseball team. I'm hanging out with my wife and my kids. And I'm enjoying the heck out of it. And, maybe one day I'll get back into things, which sounds like an answer where I'm avoiding your question. But the truth is, I'm just having a really good time. Maybe one day I'll run for something again, but it ain't going to be anytime soon.
Shout out to Old Man Sports Leagues, by the way. We're all there with you right now. Jason, you took the extraordinary step. You were running for the mayor of Kansas City. You were going to glide to that office, a very big job, obviously, in your state and across the country. And you took the extraordinary step of withdrawing from the race because of your PTSD. Can you talk a little bit about how critical the problem was at that moment for you to take that step and how you got through it?
Yeah, it was pretty critical. It got to the point where I actually had called the Veteran Suicide Hotline, the VA crisis line. And, up until that point, what I had told myself was that, I wasn't like the other people who were experiencing this, even though I had had 11 years of symptoms that I'd sort of avoided in my mind and tried to cope with, and frankly just tried to outrun by running for office. And it was when I heard the tone of the woman's voice on the other end of the phone, and I realized, oh, I didn't sound any different than anybody else that she had dealt with that day or in that job. And I was having suicidal thoughts, and it frightened me, and I didn't want to kill myself. And so that's when I decided that I was going to step back from everything. But maybe more importantly, that's when I decided that I was going to tell everybody the truth about why. Because I felt like, if there was somebody else out there like me, well, then maybe they would hear that and it would cause them to get help. And it turns out there were a whole lot of people out there like me, veteran or otherwise. I wish everybody had the experience of when they decide to seek help, that they got the affirmation of having a lot of people really say to them, you saved my life, because I realized if you needed this kind of help, then maybe I did too. And I figured if I was able to do that with my announcement, then maybe with this book, I can convince a lot of people that getting help actually does help.
That's such an important moment to underline and stop and pay attention to, because obviously suicide is epidemic in this country. It's epidemic among veterans. How did you get past that moment? Because a lot of people either don't make that phone call or don't survive past that phone call, even if they make it. What was it that stopped you and allowed you to sort of see the light beyond?
A couple of things. One, my wife. My wife plays a big role in my life, obviously, but also in this book. Unlike most memoirs, she gets a lot of first-person passages in the book, because it's important to not just hear from me, but to hear from her about what it was like being with me. And I don't think it was like a party all the time. But now she likes to say that we're on our second marriage, and to the same guy. But then the other thing that really got me through was therapy at the VA. And the entire third act of the book is just me taking you inside what that therapy room was like with my therapist, Nick, at the VA, because I figure, and by the way, the book is funny too. I should say that, because it's a book about PTSD, but the jokes work, which is why, you can get through it. But I wanted to take people inside that room, because I figure if my goal is to get more people, whether they have trauma, whether they have whatever it is, a bad divorce, a car accident, it doesn't matter, or just you live with somebody who went through something, if I can get more people to understand what it's like to be in that room and how doable the treatment is, then I figure that's probably the greatest public service I can do.
With a lot of help, you found some hope and some joy. So let's end this with a message to the country right now. Obviously, you found hope in your own life. A lot of people are feeling, frankly, grim about the state of affairs in this country right now. What gives you hope, Jason, as you look ahead to the future?
I'd say the biggest thing that gives me hope, and I'm going to sound, I'm 41 years old. I don't feel like I'm that old, but this is an old guy thing to say, which is whenever I talk to people younger than me, when I talk to folks particularly from Generation Z, what I find is that, they find that our inability to speak to one another and that our inability to deal with the problems that face us, our focus on avoiding those things, it's not just that they are frustrated by it, they find it completely unacceptable and it makes no sense to them. This thing where Americans don't feel like they know each other anymore, where you only know people who are exactly like you and think exactly like you, well, they find it unacceptable. We think that, technology is pushing us apart. And I find that, folks in their 20s right now or younger are using technology to bring them closer together with people who are not exactly like them all the time. And that's what gives me hope, because ultimately, in a country that has had no form of mandatory service of any kind for the longest consecutive period in its history, well, we are really struggling to figure out what it is as Americans that holds us together. Is it that 1 in 3 of us watch the Super Bowl? Is it that everybody has a view on Taylor Swift? It's got to be something deeper than that. And when I look at rising generations, I see people who are searching for that commonality.
Well, it's such an important message, and it's all over your book. We're so glad to hear you're doing well. As you said, you're 41 years old. A lot of road ahead of you, a lot of people waiting to see what you do next. The new book is Invisible Storm, a soldier's memoir of politics and PTSD. If you're suffering, listen to Jason's message and call and reach out for the help you may need. Jason, thanks so much for being with us, and congratulations on the book.
Thank you, Willie.